Welcome to Soundcheck with Pastor Isaac. This is episode number 131. And today we're talking about approaching a new year. This is the time of the year that we all celebrate our new year coming in. And so I wanted to do something a little different today. I wanted to just sit back and just talk about the things that God has already done with us and to reflect on the things that God has done so that we won't take those things for granted. A lot of times we look at what we have and sometimes we compare it with what others have. And we decide that, hey, we don't have enough. But we need to really thank God that He's already blessed us. God has already brought us through. And I wanted to take this time to just thank a few people today. I'll probably do that near the end of the broadcast. But I wanted to just thank God for the opportunity to come into your homes, into your cars, into your places of business every week just to give a word that God has given me. I hope it has been a blessing to you. And I really love to hear from each one that has had an impact on their life. I want to really know, how has God touched you with this Sound Check with Pastor Isaac? Has it been effective in your life? Has it been an encouragement to you? Have you been able to share it with some of your family and friends and maybe some of the people that you really feel needed that particular word for that week? Has it been effective to them? I want to really know so that I can be encouraged to keep moving on. It would really be an encouragement to me to just hear what God is doing in your life, in the life of your loved ones, because it would help me to be encouraged to continue to give the word, to continue to know that it's effective. I know that God is reaching someone because there are some that reach back and always have an encouraging word to let me know that it's been effective for them. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear what God has done for you. Now, this year coming up, we don't know what's going to happen. We do know that there are a lot of wars and rumors of wars. There are actual things going on in our cities that we don't care to hear or see, but it's always on the news. And we know that there are a lot of people in perilous times because that's what the Bible told us would happen. The word already reminded us that perilous times would come. Jesus told us that. And so we need to know that we're in those last days. And with this approaching new year, we need to know that God is still with us. No matter what's going on, no matter what it looks like, no matter how dismal things seem to be, God is still in control. And God is still the one that has to put the whole thing together. We are but a small piece of the puzzle. And when we look at the whole thing, we only see our little piece. And we don't understand sometimes that our piece fits with another piece that hasn't even been connected with us yet. And so we're oftentimes discouraged because we can't see the whole picture. Well, let me encourage you today. God has already won this thing. He has already seen it to the end. There is a great ending in store for each one of us, and that ending is victory. God is going to cause each one of us to be soaring and to cause us to continue to do what He wants us to do, to bring this whole piece together, to bring this whole puzzle together so that the entire picture reflects the body of Christ. The Bible asks us a question. It says, will I find faith when I return? Jesus is wondering, is there going to be faith in the earth when He returns? I'm telling you, yes, there will be faith in the earth because He's going to come back to receive those that are hearing Him and those that are walking upright before Him. He's going to come to receive those people that look just like Him. Remember, the Bible tells us that we will see Him as He is. And when we see Him, it says that we will be like Him. And so I'm encouraged by that, to know that no matter what we see going on in the world, no matter how it looks right now, we know that we have an assured ending. We have an ending that God is bringing together so that we will win, so that we will be victorious. And I'm using those two words intentionally today because I want you to know, no matter what it looks like, you're going to be okay. Now, you may feel hurts in your body. You may be feeling like, well, how come I've been praying and I haven't had this release yet? How come I've been doing all the things that God said to do, but I haven't seen the breakthrough? Don't give up. I'm telling you, because God is the one that can always keep us even when we don't even know what's going on. God is going to bring us through, and we're going to be victorious in the end, no matter what it looks like right now. Just about an hour ago, I was on the way to a local store just to get some things for the home. And that particular route that I took, we can drive 55 miles per hour on it. And as I was riding, there was a dump truck approaching me. And all of a sudden, this cardinal flew across, and just as the truck was coming, the cardinal just turned and immediately went back. And I saw that dump truck as destruction coming towards that cardinal. But that cardinal was able to turn. I'm telling you, God is able to keep us just like that cardinal from being destroyed. Now, if that cardinal had hit that truck and that truck was probably going 55, 60 miles per hour, that would have been a disaster for that bird. But I was able to see that God was able to keep that bird. Now, if God cares about every cardinal, if God cares about every sparrow, if God cares about every living thing that he's created on this earth other than people, don't you think he cares about you? Don't you know that he loves you? Don't you know that God caused his son to come here to live and die so that you can be resurrected in the end when it's time for God to bring you back to himself? Yes, there's a resurrection coming. Now, some of us may never see death because it promises that some will be changed in a moment of a twinkling of an eye. But most will die because most people have already died, and there's those that are to come if the Lord hasn't come back yet that will die because we have a limited time on this earth. The Bible talks about if you live more than 70 years, that's a blessing. But the bottom line is we are going to see death. But that is not the end. That is not to be discouraging. That is something that we can look forward to, knowing that God, even in death, has life for each one of us. And that's according to his word. We have life if we've given our life to him. And so when we look at this new year coming, like we said, we don't know what's coming, but we do know that God is already there. God is already in the future. God is already right here where we are. God is over the whole spectrum. He's in the past, he's in the present, and he's in the future. Because to him, there is no time. Everything's the same to him. So we know that God is able to keep you. He's able to continue to strengthen your family, continue to break through those barriers. Now, I do know this. There are things that are going on with our families. There are things going on with our jobs. Sometimes you have the boss that you wish you didn't have. Sometimes you have the employees you wish you didn't have. Or sometimes you have the fellow workers that are with you that you wish you were somewhere else. Well, I'm telling you, God has you planted just where he needs you to be. And when it's time for you to move on, he will let you know that. So be encouraged even in that. God has you in a place so that you can be a reflection of him, a reflection of his grace, a reflection of his love. And when that time is done, he will move you. But until that time, don't give up. Make sure you're continuing to be the light. Make sure you're not that one, you're not that boss, or you're not that person that everyone's looking at going, I don't want to be like him. But make sure you're that one, you're that person, you're that one that they can follow to say, I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I want to be like that student over there. I want to be the one that we all go to approach because we need something from them. We want to be that person, whether you're in school, whether you are a child, whether you are an adult, whether you're in a nursing facility. It doesn't matter where you are. God will continually use you because he loves you, and because he loves people, he wants to work through you. Now, I'm just sitting back talking today because I really want to let you know that those stresses on every side, those sicknesses, those diseases, they can't win. Those things can't overcome you. And so you will know that God is victorious in you when you have a release and when you have a peace in your heart, knowing that God will bring you through. Amen. And so this New Year's resolution, most people always make one, but I'm telling you, it's a great time for us to get back into doing what God has called us to do. A great time to get back into our fasting, a great time to get back into our prayer, a great time to get back into reading the word, a great time to get back into doing what God has wanted us to do. And that's to love him and to serve him and to worship him and to give to him. What are we talking about with giving? We're talking about not money all the time, but we're talking about giving of our service to him, giving your time to God, giving your time to your local ministry, giving your time to those things that God has placed on your heart to do. There are some people that are essential to our local communities. And there are some of us that haven't done all that we can to make sure everyone in that community is doing what they can to make that community run smoothly. Some of us are really good in politics. Some of us are really good in medical things. Some of us are lawyers. Some of us are doctors. Some of us are the custodians. It doesn't matter what your job is. God has a purpose for you, and God has a plan for you to speak to those around you. Remember, we have a sphere of influence of about 8 people. And those people in our area can be influenced tremendously by us because Christ is in us. Remember, we have a mouth, and God will use our mouth to speak to those that need to hear a word, that need to hear a clear message from Him. But we have to open our mouth to give that word. And so I want you to know that my desire is that you will continue to be fruitful and that you will continue to help the multiplication of Christians on this planet, that you will make disciples, that you will also continue to keep your heart right before God. And that's what Sound Check is all about. It's about making sure that each one is hearing a sound word and putting that to the test every week to make sure that they are walking upright before Him. It's important that we do it. And sometimes we forget, and sometimes we slack, and sometimes we fall off. But we want to make sure that now we start afresh, we start anew. It's a new year. Let's keep moving forward. Let's not give up. Let's not give ground to the enemy, because we know that everything that we do is going to be potentially great for the kingdom. And so we want to do all that we can to advance the kingdom of God. Now, I'm looking forward to hearing the comments that you all have to see if this ministry has been effective in your home, in your business, also in your friendships. How has this affected them? I really would want you to do that. There's an email address at the bottom. I want you to write me. If that's not possible, I want you to put something in the chat. But be very specific, because I really would love to hear how this ministry is affecting you and how it has prospered you, how it's blessed you. And that's very important to me to know. I also want you to know that I'm planning on having several other guest speakers on the program next year. I love having my wife, and I love having other people that you've seen before, but I'm going to have some new faces that you will probably love to hear what God has done through them and with them, and how their witness is being effective. And so look forward to that. That's coming in the new year. We also want to just thank those that have really blessed us as far as their encouragement. My most encouraging person that blesses me every week is my wife. She's my biggest supporter. And so I want to thank her for always being there, always encouraging, always complimenting, and giving me criticism to help me to make this ministry flow and to make it do what it needs to do to get the word out to each one of you. I also want to thank my sister, Angela. Angela is always right there too, whether she's in town or out of town. She's always tuning in, always encouraging, and always also giving encouraging words of how it can be different and maybe how it can change to help and bless someone else. I also want to thank my mom. My mom also watches, and my dad also watches, and both of them are always encouraging. And now, I'm not saying that the words that you give have to be encouraging, but I need to hear from you, because if there's something that I can do different that's going to help you, I want to know about it, and I want to be able to implement it so that your experience of Sound Check with Pastor Isaac can be a good one, and it can be effective for you and your family. I also want to mention Deacon Warren that's at our church. He's always in my ear to encourage and to bring a word of encouragement to me every Sunday. When I see him after the Sound Check airs on Saturdays, he finds me every Sunday and just tells me what it meant to him and how it can encourage him to continue on as a man of God. And so I appreciate that. He's our men's fellowship president right now. And so that means a lot to come from him. I also want to thank one of my biggest supporters, and that's Tyrone from Atlanta area in Georgia. I really appreciate him. He's always encouraging me with sending monetary gifts to help this ministry to continue. So I want to bless God for all of those that I just mentioned. I thank God for you. I hope that this short message has encouraged somebody to just continue to seek God and to be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. I hope to see you again next year as this new year is coming. I say Happy New Year to each one of you. Happy New Year to your family. Happy New Year. And so with that, I will see you soon. Blessings to you.